Hey y'all, it is time for another live cutting. You know what, let me plug this phone in since I'm going to be at this for a while today because we got to do this. So let's slide over to Patreon, give you guys your live, and in the meantime, I'd rather not have this die, right? So, while we have a seat here, wait for some of you all to show up, and while I do so, I will actually probably see if pulling this and maybe this. I'm looking at it, might help the lighting on the camera. Did it? Maybe a little. We will give a few minutes. I'll tell you all a little bit about the clutch we're going to be cutting today. What we're cutting today is this will be our last shot of the year at hitting bells. So we do have some bells. We did hit some bells, but obviously we're always trying to make more bells. Everybody loves bells, right? Well, it's because the gecko on the back wall, Simon, is a statue. I'll show it to you. Something I picked up in Florida a few years ago. That's why he doesn't move. We did a video on the guy. If you're interested in picking up any reptile art, he makes these carvings. They were very, very cool, very realistic. This is, of course, a tokay gecko. And I just thought it would be kind of cool to match and would look really good on the wall here at the reptile house. So we just picked this up and thought, you know what? We will stick it up here, and it kind of just sets just like that. So it's a really cool little piece, and it's fun to have, right? So I kind of just like it for that purpose alone. I don't know how many comments we got on it, quite a few. Hey, your gecko's escaped. Hey, your gecko's out. Things like that. So it served its purpose. It's kind of fun. So. But anyway, what we're looking for here was a lesser pastel. Yeah, it definitely doesn't move. It's a lesser pastel to a lesser. So we're looking for lesser pastels, lessers, and bells. As of yesterday, nothing had pipped. As of today, 4 have pipped. So they are right on schedule. But we did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eggs. So we still have 3 to cut and show you guys. You guys will see 3 of them with us, and you'll get to see what is already pipped. So far, the odds are playing kind of right in line with what is pipped, at least from what I can see. Not exactly what they should be, but pretty dang close. The only thing missing from it being playing exactly as the odds should play, I think, is a normal and a pastel. We can live without seeing a normal. I'll be perfectly okay with that. Not what I really want to see anyway. We have plenty of those. Always do. And normals aren't bad. A lot of people get disappointed, but they also, they don't help run the business near as much, that's for sure. The goal is to breed healthy snakes, so not just genetics. So mostly what we're looking for is live, healthy snakes. So let's take a peek here, see what we got. I'll spin you guys around. Maybe. Yeah, I guess that's the way I want you. Well, maybe. Let me get this all set up the way I want. Hang on. Well, me do want to spin you around. You're looking at my ceiling. There we go. So, now again, I won't be able to respond to comments as well while doing this because my work is going to be different. You spoke to me years ago when you first did your YouTube and you gave me advice about snakes. And now I'm on my 4th successful year breeding and just want to say thank you. Oh, Gino, that's awesome. Glad we could help out. We're always learning too. So hopefully I gave you good advice back in the day. So maybe the same still today. Let's look at what we got here. So this looks like a lesser pastel to me. That looks like a lesser. You can see a darker eye stripe. I do believe this one probably is. I can't tell for sure. That could actually be the normal. I was hoping it was lesser, but looking at it a little closer now, I kind of just glanced. And this over here with just a nose sticking out is definitely a bell. It had its head out further before I opened it. So let's go ahead and just work on these guys, open them up a little bit more first, and then we'll go with actually cutting the eggs that we cannot see into. And I just want to make sure they have enough room so they're not going to get caught. Mostly what we're doing here. And we'll just make its natural hole bigger. So, and as you can see, that one there actually does not appear to be lesser, so the nose is kind of lying. It appears to be probably a normal. So the odds are playing right what they should be. We will go ahead and give this bell just a little more room while we can. since it stuck its head back in there, now is an excellent time to do this. So, and obviously that is, you know, fully white snake. You can't really see in there, I guess. Let me touch that so I can get focus where I want it to focus. There it goes. And I'll try to pull a flap up for you. But, I mean, once you've seen a white snake, right? It's a white snake. I mean, you could see its nose, but it pulled back in there, which is to be expected. So the next little guy is, now this one's pretty tight on the head, so we are going to definitely try to give it a little more room. And the way we'll do that is just trying to get a little bit of a pinch here. And pop in that shell just a tad. And then we're going to get it close to its noggin, ever so carefully. And then what we should be able to do is just give this egg a little bit of a pull, maybe. So I get the shell, I can pick it up. Well, you're going to fight me, aren't you, buddy? So when they do that, we can actually go around here a little bit. And all we're trying to do is just make that shell a little bit weaker so we can get in there without hurting the snake. We also, there's a little bell sticking its head out for you. Hi, little buddy. All right, bud. Thank you. Now it pulled in there. We'll make sure it has a full hole. Now that one did certainly appear to be a lesser. And actually maybe not. That looks like a pastel. They both have a lighter head, but that's going to be a pastel there. And probably no lesser at all. So again, sometimes the heads are out. That's all you can see. They lie to you. Now this one over here, I guarantee you we will have certainly lesser in it. Possibly lesser pastel. We're going to do kind of the same thing we just did a second ago here. And just try to give it just a little more of a gap. As you can see, it is pretty tight in there. Okay, I'm going to rotate this just a little bit to give me some more room to work. And then what we're going to do is just try to cut a little bit this direction. And now I should be able to manipulate that egg. I may pick it up to do so. Sorry. Sometimes it's just easier when you can do it that way. There we go. And we can pop that open. Definitely got lesser going on in there. And now he's got a full hole. And since he got a slice over here, we'll go ahead and connect those two up for him. Boop. So he's got some exit. So you can kind of see everybody going on now. So we made sure those guys have full holes, aren't going to get their head cut. Time to work on these 3 eggs. Now, of course, we really want to see our bells. We'll take about anything. Once we have them all cut, we'll pull all these Q-tips out and also take them off this plastic rack. So as they decide to crawl out, they're not going to worry about getting caught up in the old plastic or anything like that. So let's start cutting some eggs and see what happens. These are definitely ready. You can kind of tell when you feel them. This egg feels good. Cut our flap. Wow. So that's looking really nice in there. Definitely got lesser. We'll know more about the lesser pastels now. Honestly, I always have to kind of compare. Getting some movement. That's what I'm after. So that looks good. The heads are kind of the biggest giveaway when you're comparing. The pastel lesser head is much more blushed than just the lesser head. Cut one more. Yeah, I know you're going to have an image of the back of my hand. Sorry about that. Won't last long. Now, theoretically speak, we should get 1 to 2 bells out of this clutch 7 eggs. It's a 1 and 4. Now that one, like I said, I always like to have a comparison. From what I can see, it looks to be very lightly colored, but I'm only seeing the outside, so it may not be, but definitely got lesser in it. Probably that was probably the lesser pastel there. You can just see how nice that looks. So, and how blushed it is. So that is probably a lesser pastel. Leaving this with, for comparison purposes, you know, you can see how blushed that back is. Probably a lesser to a lesser pastel. We'll see. So last egg, what we really would like to see here, of course, is a bell. That would give us 2 out of 7. 1 and 4 odds, so that'd be right where they should be. You'd expect 2 and 8. But when we say that, you got to remember each egg is its own odds too. That's one thing. I do not think we're going to have a bell here. We do not. But we got another something with lesser in it. And you'd expect to see heavy lesser because lesser is certainly on 2 sides of the fence. Let me spin you guys back around here. So all in all, come on, kick over there, it did. I'm happy with this clutch. That lighting is terrible for you, I know. Sorry, I'll try to sit down and do my work. That way you don't have that overhead light staring you right in the face. But, well, we didn't smash it. We didn't get, 2 or 3 bells or anything. Only 1 more bell. I think we have 3 others maybe. So we will have about 4 bells we will be releasing this year. So all in all, that's not terribly bad. I'll take that. That's a pretty decent haul. Certainly beats no bells, right? I know people who go through that every year sometimes, and sometimes the odds are nice and sometimes they're not. That's kind of just the way it works. So, any comments about what you're seeing here? Because now I can focus on y'all. These Q-tips also kind of start to go soft and gross after a while, but the eggs will kind of set for once they're in there, and then you don't have to worry about them as much. So what I'm doing now is just pulling these eggs. You can see they're sitting there, and I'm going to be moving them back into the box, minus all the Q-tips I pulled out. And that is just, I had one time throw up a Q-tip, so it told me I had to eat a Q-tip. I don't know if I've had others eat a Q-tip and cause problems. So what we decided to do was make sure and get those out of there. I've also found the fuller my incubator gets, the more likely it is that some of these will be in the incubator a little longer. We also tried some experiment last year. I know a lot of people, with the, again, it's one of those there's more than one way to skin a cat things. Put it there for now. This is kind of, I'll show you how they end up looking. Well, you can kind of see just like that when we're done. We're doing incubation where they would just leave them in this incubation tub until they fully shed out. I thought, well, hell, that'd be a lot easier. I wouldn't have to mess with pre-shed racks or anything like that. So, man, I'm gonna need a new one of these. This thing is, my rubber has come out of the hole. This metal's about to fall apart on me. I have overused my tripod. So, yeah, time for a new one. But maybe I can find an Amazon Prime Day deal. Anyway, so what we found was that wasn't working as well for us. With that, we had at least one that I think killed itself because of the rack on accident. So now we take the racks out just to prevent this. It's one of those things that you learn as you go. We also no longer will let them shed out in these tubs. It just didn't work for us. It works for others. I mean, it's fine. But what we tend to do now is we'll keep them in a group of about 4 to 5 per shed tub, and they'll be on some paper towels, bowl of water. They'll all shed out together there, and then I separate. It does save me a lot of room when we have multiple clutches. I've only got 20 shed tubs, so we were running out of them. It was kind of something we decided to do by necessity, and that worked great with no issues. And we put them out, and we start to number instead of to babies. So that is kind of how we do things around here, at least now. Again, it's always evolving, and it changes every day. All right, guys, now we've kind of covered the cutting. Do look tomorrow. We'll have a regular video posted tomorrow because we've had lives the last couple days. We haven't gotten any of our regular videos out. You guys will want to see that, especially those of you who have hit me up about what's going on with TGR. You're going to get some answers in that video. So do watch that. Be prepared for it. Look for it. If it's not showing up in your notifications, you might have to unclick and click the bell. Make sure you get all the notifications. YouTube kind of hates my guts. So a lot of our things aren't showing up. So make sure you catch that because it's the best way we could to answer everybody's questions with the information that we have to release at this time. So it's coming. I promise. I told you it was coming. It will be out tomorrow. It's already edited. It's already set in there. It was going to come out today, but we had eggs to cut, which always takes precedent. All right. So any questions from you all before I get out of here? Oh, there it is. So, oh, I say, oh yeah, I said TGR. I do meant Pride of Texas. For whatever reason, my comments were not loading, but now they are. So I thought maybe nobody was talking to me. Yes, it is. I said TGR, but I meant Pride of Texas. We don't have any answers on TGR or anything on that other than, well, you guys honestly know as much as I know about that. However, excuse me, I do know a little more about Pride of Texas and the situation. So we will hit you. We'll let you guys know that in the next video. So you'll want to see that. All right. Anything y'all want to see or any questions before we hop off of here and slide to Patreon for the evening? Plus, I got to go check some feeds this evening. Oh, well, nope, that's another video coming out. I don't want to spoil that for you either. So I was going to show you something really cool, but I just can't show it yet. I hate that. I hate that. Well, Anthony, on yours, I'll let you do that update because I'm not sure when you're ready to start taking orders. We have been getting a lot of questions on the Pride of Texas because people have orders or waiting on with the website being down. And that's where that update is kind of going. So that's why on the YouTube we're doing that big thing. When you're ready to start taking full orders on your cages and ready to rock and roll, we will do some more with that and kind of show off how well they've been doing for us as well. So this is pretty cool stuff. So anyway, yeah, if we got some so far, I think I saw somebody from Saudi Arabia. Welcome. That is awesome. I always find it so amazing that we get people. We're doing TikTok now. If you didn't know that too, and TikTok we have a lot of other countries that are kind of our lead followers, especially in the Middle East. And I always find it fascinating that people from such a faraway place watch us here, and it kind of makes the world a little smaller. So it's one of my favorite things to see. Was like, oh, I'm watching you from Saudi Arabia or Ireland or wherever, because it just, I don't know, I think that's crazy to me. I can't believe that. I'm just some country boy from Kansas. So the fact that people are watching us from all those places is pretty awesome. And as far as would I ever add a Volta to my collection, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem adding a Volta. I think Voltas are cool. Remember, Volta's not a morph, though. It's a location issue. So that large size, it's not like if you breed a Volta to a normal, you're going to get half Voltas, half normals. You're going to get this kind of just mix. But the large size of the Volta is really cool, especially if you're putting like good males to it. If you get a female Volta, I probably wouldn't be as interested in a male. Female Voltas, in a perfect world, I wouldn't have any true normals. I would have either single gene recessives, because that's great for proving stuff out as well, or 2 or 3 big Volta females that I could put really cool males to, or something I want to prove out to increase the number of eggs, So that's, yes, Voltas are pretty awesome. Chad, yeah, I actually am partial to super lessers. And, and somebody said, what's up? I'll say what's up back to that. And here's the reason why I'm partial to super lessers. So, when you're dealing in breed speak, for me at least, okay, with bells. Bells are awesome. They're going to sell them as pets a lot of times too, because they're just so cool. Another one from a foreign country, from South Africa. So we're covering several continents today. It's pretty good. Well, I guess it depends on, you can Middle East, part of Europe continent, I would say, and South Africa. Oh shit, I locked up. All right. Can you hear me? To quote, who was the actor? Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? I'm thinking what movie that was from. Rush Hour. with Jackie Chan, and somebody help me out who said that. He was yelling at Jackie Chan. So yes, I'm glad I'm back. Sorry about that. Again, outside of my control. Chris Tucker, yeah, that was Chris Tucker with Jackie Chan. I can't even understand the words coming out of my mouth. That's how I felt a second ago. I could see your comments, you just couldn't hear mine. So I was saying hi to South Africa, and we kind of locked up and got lost. And I was responding to, do I prefer super lessers? I do. And when you're looking at bells from a breed standpoint, I like a bell because it's a super. I know I'm going to pass on the gene, right? That is really awesome. Bells are going to sell regardless of what's in them. What we were cutting today was super lessers, lesser pastel to lesser, which we already got one bell and a bunch of lesser stuff. No single gene pastels, and I think one normal. So actually one single gene pastel. Take that back. Ooh, bang that. So we kind of hit the odds kind of where we should, with a little bit lower on bells. We'd have liked to have seen 2, because you'd expect 1 and 4. We got 1 and 7. 1 and 8. I mean, you would expect 2 with 8. So the one egg she didn't lay, right? But anyway, my reason for that preference is really simple. So when I breed that super lesser, I'm going to pass on lesser, right? I'm not going to have to pass. Is Chris the one that asked the question? I'm probably answering, and I get to be here to hear it. That's going to suck. You're not going to, I want to control what I pass on. So by breeding a super lesser, I know I'm going to pass on lesser. If I'm dealing with a lesser Mojave, I'm going to pass on 1 of the 2, and I can't guarantee my project the way I want to go. I'm trying to remove something out of it. That being said, I've kept a super Mojave as well, and the reason for that is I can take a super Mojave and guarantee to pass on Mojave to certain things. So I prefer, I would say, I guess, an unbastardized bell, right? One that they do that looks boom, the same. And I do like lightning pies. The other thing too, though, with the super Mojave bells is they're not really all truly white. You usually have this yellow stripe to it. They're a little bit. They have a gray head. They're just a little dingier. Super lesser gives you a really nice pure white snake, which is awesome. We might do some bell comparisons one day. That might be a fun project. So with that, it is one of those things. Now, is there anything wrong with the lesser Mojave bell? No. And some people may prefer the lesser Mojave because then they're going to get more genetics in their combo. Like if I was just starting out and I was using a male not for certain projects but for multiple projects, I probably would want a lesser Mojave over the super lesser because I get 2 genes in one thing, right? So there's a little bit to that. The other bells that make true beautiful white, lesser Mojave can kind of go either way. They can be really nice. I think super lesser's a tick above on the pure white scale. They also say Russo to Russo. It will make a really nice super white bell. Some will even tell you it's a little bit whiter than super lessers. What's going on, Chris? Now, I don't have any experience with the super Russos to really compare them, so I can't argue one way or the other. But I personally like what super or what lesser does more than what Russo does. So for my bells, I personally prefer super lesser. Now, for full disclosure with that, there is some issues that people will point to with super lesser. And what those issues tend to be is the bug eyeing. So super lessers can tend to have kind of bulging eyes and big eyes. It won't affect anything they do day to day. It won't affect how they eat. It won't affect how they live. It's just a bigger eye. Part of that is a white snake that makes it kind of appear worse than it even is, but they do certainly have bulged eyes. Not always, right? Not always, but sometimes. So that is certainly something you've got to kind of keep in mind. So anyway, that's my answer on that. And Chris, quick question for you while I got you here, man. Is YouTube like being a jerk to you? Because they've been shitty to us lately, so I'm curious if that's just me and I have pissed off the logarithm gods and I don't know, maybe I'm not holding my face the right way, or if it is across the board and it's just a snake thing right now. He said, you need help. Your best male for my pastel is a mocha female. Oh, man. I can tell you I haven't worked a lot with mocha, so I may not be the best person to answer that. But I believe mocha is going to be a little bit darker. So it really depends on what male you have. In a perfect world, I'd tell you something like a Summa GHI, but unless you got one of those laying around, and if you do, let me know. I'd like to have that. So it really kind of depends on what you have setting there, and it depends on your experience level too. If you don't have a lot of experience, I would recommend not throwing some 4 gene crazy male to it, having 6 genes to play with, and having a nightmare. We can talk sweet to the logarithm. I don't do that very well. My problem is I'm pretty opinionated, I guess, and I don't give a shit. I really don't. I do, but I don't. It pisses me off. So anyway, because it's harder to identify if you've got 6 genes floating around in there. If you got the experience, which it sounds like you say you do, then it really is just going to be, man, a matter of taste. And I don't want to steer you in a certain direction because I don't have any mocha. So it's hard for me to say this is a combo I like and don't like. Mainly Pied Project Grow Out. And I'm going to guess you've probably already looked at putting it to Pied or put it to Pied or something of that scenario. Hey, meanwhile, while we're talking here, I am going to check just to make sure nobody's sitting on eggs. Shouldn't be today. I wouldn't expect it. But you never know. I did say, come on, you need to have eggs. I do think we got a few more clutches yet to go. Not a lot, unfortunately. Not as many as I would have liked to have had this year. But c'est la vie. So I do think there's some reason behind that. One is most of my females that haven't gone yet, that I hope to go. She went last year. She's been in every other year one anyway. So that would be my Manaya, my ghost. And then this pastel xanthic female was the first year. Calypso, she went last year, but some of them are going to throw off because of move. This is my Super Lesser's first year. This will be the first year my Pied has missed, but also, again, got moved. Be the second year breeding for this Bumblebee, and she hasn't gone, but that could also be part of the move. Same with my Mojaves. I did miss on both my Mojaves so far, although one of them kind of looked like she was thinking about it. But I don't think she is. So I can't remember which one it was. Oh, it was this one. So, we'll see. My lesser goes second. So I think a lot of it is new females and partly the move. So last year, we could not have done our move worse. I will definitely say that. But it is part of the situation, right? And welcome for just getting here, Wild Authority. And dude, I get getting a break. Man, there are days I don't want to do this shit. When I say this shit, I don't mean this shit. I love this shit. But sometimes it is difficult when you're trying to, in my world anyway, we're putting in a 40-plus hour a week day job, myself. My wife is too. She works right now. And then, of course, Kurt is as well. And it's rough when you get off work and you got to come home and you got animals to take care of and you find this and you want to do the live, so you're doing that. And then we have to have a day in the evening where we film. I've got a business meeting for the shop owning about every other week. I don't get down to the shop nearly as much as I should. So all those things that we constantly are trying to keep up with in post, but I also have to kind of see, you don't see how you managed when I was working. Yeah. Yeah. It can be a lot to manage. But one thing I got to keep in focus, at least I'm not speaking for Chris. I don't know his situation. I mean, that's every person's situation is different. But as far as getting burned out, is it's a foot on the gas thing all the time. Hey, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And the reason being is there's always this light at the end of the tunnel I'm looking towards. Now, I'm in a line of work where I'm not going to get old in it, and for those who don't know, I'm about to turn 40 in a few months. Yay me. It'll be February 27th to be exact. I will be turning 40. Hopefully I will be taking a trip to Vegas for that, right? Yeah. And I don't plan on being in my career, for a lot longer. It's just not a career for old men. And being 40, for what I do, my body's not 40. My body's a lot older than that, feeling there's a lot of things that have been busted up and don't work right. So I know now is the time to push the gas, because if I can replace my career with this, and again, that's not a hey, I want to get rich and buy Ferraris or Lamborghinis or mansions or anything. I just want to cover my bills, right? I just want to cover my bills. Uh, and when I can get to that point, then I'll stop doing my day job. You can even look too and see this shoulder don't even set as high as that shoulder anymore. The camera's straight. You can look. It's not me leaning. It's just the body doesn't line up, right? um, and with that, I have a few more years I have to do. So I'm going to be pushing this hard, for a long time. Actually, I do, Josh. But I'll talk about that. But it's not a Ferrari Lamborghini. I do. It's one of those dink things. By dink, I mean dual income, no kids. We don't have any children, so we spend our money on our shit. And it is my. We actually don't have a Corvette. We actually have three. But the newest one is 2006. The oldest one is 1974, and I bought it when I was 19. I'm about to turn 40, so you can do the math on how long I've had that car. And then there's one that I picked up for my wife to have a fun toy and a relaxation, because we do enjoy our cars. This is a 1993, so it's not like I'm going out there and buying $80,000 Z06s here or anything. And before that, I had a 99 that caught on fire is how I got the 06. So, yeah. Oh, man, Chad. Because I am always leery of the Panda Pieds and the super black pastel kinking, which is what you need to do to go with the Pied project to make the black pastel Pied really kick ass. I actually really love the way albino black pastels look. So I might go that way. Monetarily speaking, you're probably better the other way, right? But I think I like the black pastel albinos. So, but anyway, that's my goal, is to get this to be my job and Kurt's job. I got two incomes to replace. We always make everything equal. And with that, I don't mind pushing and grinding. And on those days, I'm like, man, I don't want to, I don't feel like posting this, or I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing that. And I do take a few days off every now and then. The guys on Patreon can tell you, we probably average over 6 days a week of a post there. We're averaging about 2 to 3 days a week on YouTube right now. I'm trying to do probably 5 to 6 days a week on TikTok. And with that, Kurt has picked up the Instagram, because we did totally drop the ball on that shit. So we're working on that as well. But it's a reminder of, hey, this grind, this push only lasts for a short time. And by doing that for the short time, I can achieve my dream. And then the work ain't so bad. Then eating dinner in bed most nights, because I've been over here working, ain't so bad. When I look at certain animals I have, I'll show you one. This is one I pull out a lot. It makes the work not so bad, because you realize that you wouldn't have these things if you weren't putting in the amount of work that you're putting in, right there. And this is one we hatched out in 19. She's growing like a weed. She sucks the camera, because this color and this color are not the same, I promise you. Let me try to put her on the better side of the camera instead of putting her on the, hey, let go of my hand. See if this will pick up her color. There, you can kind of get it a little bit. You can see how much brighter that is. You get a lot of the lavender in there. Just a really interesting snake. So there you go. Now that's really kind of picking up how she actually looks and in the pattern. So, this is one of those things where by looking at this and remembering what the ultimate goal is, it makes that grind not so bad, right? It makes that grind worthwhile. Some days are better than others. The hard days when you have to come in and you have to get bad news, those days suck. But we've always been so very open. We tend to share things with you guys that, maybe I shouldn't, but we do. And we've always said we're going to do that. So we're going to continue to do that. All right, y'all, we've been at this for about 35 minutes. And thank you a ton for the super chat from Chris Hardwick. That was awesome. I appreciate that a lot. And, and Chris, you're also, if you're still here, I don't know if you are or not, you're another dude that tends to put everything out there. And I know sometimes you're going to catch shit for that. And we're going to make mistakes when we do that. But by the same token, I think that helps people understand that it's okay to make a mistake and it's okay to learn and it's okay to improve. And we don't have to show just the great, we can show everything. But it is hard sometimes. I'm sure you can attest to it as well, catching the blowback. I mean, it can wear on you sometimes. Um, Especially when people who are doing the blowback sometimes just catch a snippet, they don't understand what's really going on. You know what I mean? So I do want to thank you for being another one of those that will do things, and I know you catch in the face sometime, brother, and I understand. I truly do. So oh yeah, dude, we all do. Don't worry about that shit. And I just saw somebody said they were looking at joining our Patreon. Who was that? That was let me get that right. Teresa Lucas. Teresa, we'd love to have you. It honestly, the best thing I can tell people about that, and I'm not special. I'll get to that, Cindy. The best thing I can tell people about our Patreon is it's not me. It's honest to God, the community. The community on there is just so positive. It's just so awesome, and it's grown to this thing. We have a really active Discord, so if you join and you want to get the most bang for your buck on there, definitely get signed up for the Discord and start talking to people. You're going to find it's welcome, it's warm for people of all experience levels. And they're gonna. It's not like the cesspool of Facebook, which is what's great. Oh, gotta say thank you to Bowl of Seeds. He gave us a super chat and said, "Hi, cool channel, man. I look forward to watching more." Well, welcome. We love to have you here. That is really appreciative as well. Plus, if you said you're looking at joining Patreon, Teresa, you do get access to our babies. We post them for sale before anybody, along with monthly specials, which is kind of cool too. So there is that. Um, And then KCL Reptile said, I love that you show both sides because everyone has the bad stuff too. Yeah, and that's kind of what got us started doing that is everybody only showed the good. And my first clutch, for those of you that don't know, back circa 2014, I killed the whole thing. I did. I overwatered it. I mean, I murdered every egg but one, and the egg on top died anyway. Um, and man, I felt this big because all the research I'd done, all the videos I'd watched, everything I was at that point, all you see was all this happy shit. Nobody prepares you for when it goes south. Nobody says, "Hey, bro, that happened to me too." I get it. It's okay. You don't see that, so then you feel like this. It's just this epic failure. And there are times I still feel like an epic failure. Oh yeah, I won't forget that. Uh, and there's one coming up in a video, and I'm going to tell you 43 people on here now, and we lost our large gaboon viper, and I felt like horrible, and I don't even know if it was my fault. There was things I did I could probably do differently. I've learned. And there is another one here now. Can't wait to show that little thing on video. It's pretty awesome. But it just, um, I still felt this big. But now, the funny thing is, we got to talk about Patreon. And my goal wasn't to do that. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm not going to talk about Patreon today, but I wasn't going on here trying to do that. But it's those folks now that when I feel like shit, that community is what picks me up. I'll be honest. Man, because if I put a full video on YouTube, which we're going to do, the people who tune in for the live, most of them are going to be pretty cool, but there are going to be some who will watch this just to watch us have a problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't put no mind, no problem in those people. Kind of Chris talking about, you get flayed in the comments. Man, screw those folks. But on the Patreon, I know I could go there, I could pour my heart and soul out, and that community's going to grab me and stand me back up. And I've seen it do it for others too. So it's pretty awesome. Now let me get to a couple other questions really quick. What do eggs smell like? That's a quick one, so I'll get back to the all-white pythons. Eggs smell like pretty much nothing. Now when you start cutting them, I don't know, I can't really describe it. If one goes bad, it smells like a rotted egg. So that's kind of nasty. And it'll happen to you. We had one we had to cut around because the egg was stuck to the others. I just had to let it go bad. It wouldn't affect our ones. It was kind of gross. So that does happen on occasion. Now back to the all-white pythons. We do not specialize in all-white pythons. We do, however, try to make them every year. There's a couple reasons for that. One, they sell really well. I am not going to lie. There's a good sales market for it. They're in high demand. We are a business as well as a hobbyist. We have to think about both, and they do help fund a lot of things, and they sell really quick. You almost can't overproduce bells. I'm sure it could be done, but it's very hard. Now, my main focus, if there was a gene I would say I'm focused on, it is Xanthic. That is what I truly am after, which is... their prices do hold, Joshua. Totally hold. They've been about the same price forever. They've been pieds. You can make a ton of pieds, and the pieds have been right around the 350 mark forever and a day. I think they actually ticked up a little bit. So I do have a habit of chasing squirrels. She's right, on the nose. But they hold their value very well. But the axanthic for me is what really got me into it. That would be the gene I'm most focused on. The other gene I would say we're really focusing on, and we don't have as much of it, because we started with a single one, and it really wasn't being used by a lot when we got into it, and you're seeing it more as blitz. So, how do you tell if something is an egg and not a solid white dookie? Oh, you'll know. You'll know. So, if it's a hard, like a piece of chalk, then it's poop, right? If it is pushes on the sides, you know, a little bit, even if it's kind of firm but pushes in, it's probably an egg. And it looks like an egg. Eggs look like an egg. They have a shell. It's not a hard shell. It's kind of a leathery shell. The one thing that might throw some folks is if it's their first time and you had a girl do what they call slugging out, right? And then you'll get this hard kind of oblong lump that's kind of off-white. You know, if you're really in doubt, what you can do is take. I always say, when in doubt, incubate it out. One thing you can do is take a flashlight, similar to this little guy right here, right? Just a little bitty mag light, phone light, whatever the hell it is. Turn that light on, whoop, and put it right up against the egg, kind of like this. So you can kind of see through my finger, right? You'll do the same thing in that egg, and you'll be able to see blood vessels in it if it's a viable egg. If it's a piece of poo, it's just gonna not do anything. And if it's a little round slug, which they're pretty uniform formed, poop is usually not very uniform, it's going to light up like a light bulb but have no vein working. So that is kind of one way to tell. Yeah, there's Teresa talked about that too. So this is the first time they've been able to make. Their name is Zach, and I just got into ball pythons to learn about more. So you're awesome. Well, I'm glad we can help you out. All right, guys, one thing we always do when we do a live here on YouTube is we always go over and do a live on Patreon as well to answer any questions they have about the clutch and what's going on. So I'm going to dip out of here, and I'm going to go over to YouTube now, and I'm going to show the clutches we pulled the other day that are all out of the egg. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate the super chats a lot. It really does help us. So thank you for that. And we're going to hop over there now. All right. We'll see you guys next time.